Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Let's talk Misericordia University baseball. Joining us is the head coach, Pete Egbert. Pete, tell us about your team this year. You've been very consistent the last several years with some good quality baseball players. How is 2014 shaping up?
We're a little inconsistent so far this year. It hasn't been quite the same. We've got a lot of young faces, and a lot of freshmen and sophomores that have led us throughout the year. We're really athletic. We think the future's real bright. At this point, we're 20-10, I believe. But we still haven't put together consistent baseball day in and day out yet, and hopefully that's coming now that we're getting into some better weather and later in the year. And
you talk to so many coaches, whether it's on the high school or the college level. I know talking with Coach Shevchik, he said he was locked in the gym for so long. Those guys have put together a nice streak at Keystone. How about for you guys? Was it a similar situation where it was just tough to get outside?
Yeah, and in fact, today was just the second day that we've actually practiced on a baseball field. So when you're limited to batting cages and gyms and bullpen mounds and stuff like that, it's just tough for guys to get into a rhythm. And everybody's going through the same thing, so it's not really an excuse. It's just, it's tough to really find your rhythm and find what you need to do. And then obviously you're limited with certain things in terms of team defense and cuts and relays and just getting reads off the bat and base running. All those things are different when you can have access to a field and when you can practice some of those things. So those are some of the things that are missing, and I think play has just been sloppy throughout because we've been limited by the weather and the field conditions.
Well, Pete, let's talk about your pitchers. Tell us about the guys you have that are coming out as starters on the mound, and then what you have in the bullpen this year.
Our number one is outstanding kid by the name of Ryan Dorosh, who's a sophomore for us. Last year he threw a lot of innings as a freshman and really started the season as our number 3 last year, and then really developed into our number 1 by the end of the year. This year he started as our number 1. He's 7-0 right now. He's about to break the career strikeout record for school history in just the end of his second year. So that tells you a lot about him. He's got a plus fastball with a very good breaking ball. And he is a true ace. Behind him, we've got another kid who's a sophomore but didn't play last year for us, a kid by the name of Timmy Burek out of Albany, New York. Timmy's been throwing the ball really well. And then Corey Lee, who took last year off, was with us 2 years ago out of the bullpen, started most of the year and pitched out of the bullpen. And then by necessity, we've had to make him into a starter. And his last 3 outings as a starter, including today, have been very good. So those 3 guys are throwing the ball real well.
And, Pete, we headed to the infield. Tell us about the guys that are playing those positions and what you're getting production-wise.
Really, our second baseman, Kyle Lindsay, and our third baseman, Chris Borak, both sophomores, have both found themselves really comfortable. Chris hits first in our lineup, and Kyle hits third. They've both been consistent offensively. We started the year actually with them flip-flopped. Kyle was at third, and Chris was at second, and we made the change, and it's been a good change. They've both settled in, and I think our team defense overall has gotten better because of it. A kid by the name of Kyle Seawards has stepped in and played the shortstop position for most of the second half of the year. He's a freshman from New Hampshire. He's done a tremendous job, brings some consistency defensively, and has really swung the bat pretty well, hitting 350 or better as a freshman. So those 3 guys are really athletic. They make all the routine plays and then make the spectacular play every now and then. So it's been fun to watch.
We're talking with Pete Egbert, the baseball coach at Misericordia University, here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Well, Pete, how about some of the guys in the outfield this year? You pretty much had 3 steady guys, or do you have a handful that have gotten some action?
No, really, we're going to 3 guys, again, all young. Sophomore right fielder is Mike Comerford, who was a football and baseball player last year. This year he's just concentrating strictly on baseball, and that's done wonders for him. He's hitting mostly out of our 5 or our 6 hole. Does a really nice job, athletic kid. And then Jeremy Dakotas, a freshman center fielder from New Jersey, and Nick Hare, freshman left fielder from Pottsville. Both guys, little left-handed sticks, scrappy kids, tough outs. All 3 have done very well, and those 3 guys pretty much have handled the outfield duties throughout.
Pete, when you talk about the young guys you have, you have a 20-10 record. Do 30 games kind of give you that little bit more experience that you'd like, and say, hey, maybe we could put together a nice run together here to compete for that MAC championship?
Yeah, we're hoping. I mean, I've always been a guy where I think that if we have freshmen that are able to produce, we throw them out there and see what they can do right away. So you hope by the time they get to the end of their freshman year, they're not really freshmen anymore because they have 100 and 120 at bats, or they have 40 or 50 innings on the mound, and they've been out there. Whereas in a lot of programs, those guys bide their time and sit and wait and get innings here and there, at bats here and there behind people, and then hopefully step in as sophomores and juniors. For us, a little bit out of necessity and just a little bit out of our game plan, we stick them out there right away and see what they can do. And like you said, hopefully once you get to playoff time, they're acting a little bit more mature and not making the same mistakes that they've made throughout the course of the first half of the year. And then we think that helps them, from here on out.
When you talk about the conference this year, tell us about some of the teams that are in the mix when the playoffs come around.
Last week of the regular season is this weekend, and I think all 4 playoff spots have been locked down. Just we're dealing with who finishes where now. I think the 4 teams will be DeSales, FDU, Manhattanville, and ourselves. Any one of those 4 teams can win it. All of them have at least 1, if not 2, very good pitchers. All defend pretty well, and then each bring a little bit of a different dynamic in terms of what they do well. So those 4 teams have been in the conference tournament the past 3 years, and it's been a dogfight. It's certainly tough to come out of there alive, but we like our chances, going forward. Now it's just a matter of hopefully playing good, consistent baseball.
Pete, you've done such a tremendous job at Misericordia University with this baseball program. Tell us about what it's like to recruit for baseball players. How tough is it? What months are you working hard? Because your season, hopefully you're getting into late May if things go well, and then you're still trying to sew up people to get in and make sure they're committed for next year already.
Yeah, I tell people really the only day we take off from recruiting is Christmas Day. Other than that, we're recruiting pretty much every day of the year, whether we're on the road or on the phone or evaluating guys or what have you. Recruiting has really, really changed just in the past 6-7 years alone, and certainly in baseball, there's a ton of exposure out there for high school age guys, and they're seen every single weekend, and they're playing in front of multiple college coaches every single weekend. So it's just a matter of getting out and evaluating the guys who you think are good fits into the program and bring them to the campus and making sure that the school is the right fit. We're fortunate at Misericordia where we feel like we've got a good campus. We've got a lot of good majors to offer, and if we can get young men on campus and show them around and show them what we have to offer, we think we have a good shot, of getting those guys. So recruiting is really never ends for us, and yeah, we've wrapped up most of the 2014 class, but we still have some missing pieces that, we need to still put together and hopefully bring in another 1 or 2 guys for next year. And then as soon as we're done playing, the cycle starts again for the 2015 class, the guys that are juniors now in high school, getting ready to start making their trips in the summer for college visits and stuff like that.
Pete Egbert built a great baseball program there at Misericordia University. Of course, the stadium is gorgeous. The facilities are second to none. We wish you continued success for the rest of this season and in the future. Pete, thank you for joining us.
John, thanks for having me.
Misericordia University Baseball here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.